colored umbrella. All right, we've made our mixtures, we've made our openings, we've filled our tumblers, and now it's time to seal it so that we can enjoy the beauty of our Snowglobe tumblers. But how do you do that? Well, let me show you. So I've got my cute little Snowglobe tumbler here, and I've let it degas. There's no bubbles in it, and I am ready to go. One thing that I always like to have is a squeeze bottle that is just filled with some distilled water. You can definitely fill your cup with your mixture that you used for the tumbler. Personally though, I just like to use distilled water just because it really helps avoid getting the top of your cup like kind of slimy and slippery, which makes it more difficult to get it sealed. The first thing that you're gonna do when you're sealing it is put your cup on an angle, and that's going to put that lovely little air pocket up there. Take your water and very slowly just fill that up. Make sure you have a paper towel with you because this part can sometimes get a little bit messy. So once you've gotten as much liquid in there as you can while it's slanted, then we're going to put it this way. So let me give you a better view. So once I have my cup like this, I want to make sure, sometimes you'll have it where your air bubbles separate and you have a few different ones. So I just usually will give it a little bit of a love tap because I want those to join together to create one large bubble. And what you do is, it takes some patience, but just kind of your bubbles around, and then as they go into your opening, just put that liquid in there. Now sometimes if it's being stubborn and it doesn't want to go in there, another option is you can take some of your isopropyl alcohol and squirt a little bit in that opening, and that is actually going to help bring that air bubble there. So then you can just kind of continue slowly filling it up, because just remember, the faster you go, the more air you're going to continue to introduce into your cup. So you really don't want to go too fast, and just kind of move it around. You can continue just kind of chasing your bubble around. Sometimes you get to a point though where you can't continue to sit there and chase your bubble. So if that happens, let me show you another option. Usually I'll do this over my garbage can, but for the sake of this, I'm just gonna put it over this container. Basically what I'll do is just kind of drown out my bubble. So I'm just going to continue to squirt out some water while I move my cup around, just trying to get that air bubble to go into the opening. There we go, until you get it filled. And then once you get to that point, just kind of dry it off and then we're good. Honestly, that's pretty much what I end up doing most of the time, is either take it in front of over my sink and do that, or over my garbage can. Because let's be honest, like, you could sit there and chase the bubble around, but who has time for that? I know that I don't. So once that is filled as much as it can, then I'm just going to take a paper towel and clean the outside of my cup, and we are ready to get it sealed. Now, something that you're gonna need is to make sure that this is as clean as possible and as dry as possible, because I'm gonna be using UV resin to seal the top of my cup. Epoxy repels water and liquid. So if I just don't clean this off, leave it wet, and I put any resin on there, it's not gonna stick and you're gonna end up having a leaky tumbler, which nobody wants a leaky tumbler. I always just take some alcohol that I keep in a spray bottle and spray the cup on the top. Take a new dry paper towel, or in this case, I'm just using a dry baby wipe, and gently wipe the top off. One thing that you want to be careful of is when you do this, don't press down on the top of your cup, because if you do that, let me show you. If you do that, you're gonna see how that liquid is moving up. So if you keep pushing on it and getting really rough with it, then you're gonna have water coming up, and there's no point of really drying it off because it's just gonna be super wet. Just get that as dry as I can. And then when I feel like it's really clean and dry, then I'm ready to get it sealed. So let me show you how I do that. So typically I do use packing tape, where I cut a little piece and I put it over my opening. But recently I actually got some of this Gorilla Glue duct tape, and it's crystal clear. So it's crystal clear Gorilla Tape. This works so good. I mean, I really liked the clear packing tape, but this is way better. It's basically clear duct tape, which, is there anything that duct tape can't do? So I'm just gonna take this and I'm going to cut a piece. I don't need this big of a piece though. So I'm actually gonna cut this in half and I can save this for next time. So I'm just going to stick that right back to my roll of tape. This part you don't have to do. I just like to do it just because I feel like it sticks a little bit better, is I just take my tape and I barely round the top of it. That way when I put it in there, it kind of fits better. So I'm gonna take my tape here, and this is my rounded side, and very carefully, because I don't want any of that water coming up, I am just going to get my tape and very gently press it down. And again, I don't want to press too hard because I don't want any of that water coming up. And around my opening right here can be a little bit more tricky, so I will just take my weeding tool and just really softly kind of push the tape around the opening. And just like that, we've got it. At this point, I will just go ahead and get some UV resin, squirt a little bit on there. You don't need very much. And I just take my little rubber silicone spatula brush thing, and again, very gently. I don't want to press down on it at all because I do not want any of that liquid going on my tape. I want to pay extra close attention to this area right here. I'm going to go a little bit over my rim, just to make sure it is sealed properly. Okay. I will put it under my big lamp, but I'm just going to take my UV flashlight right here just to put it on there just for a second to give it a flash cure. That way when I transport this over to my bigger light, I don't have to worry about messing up any of my resin. Also, while doing this, I really want to pay attention to where the seal is at, because if it's going to leak and it's not sealed properly, you're going to notice a little bubble pop up. That's like a water bubble. So always watch out for that, because that's always going to be a sign that unfortunately it's going to leak. I'm just going to stick this under my big lamp for 2 minutes. Once that's cured, then I just take my finger and kind of run it over there, because again, if it's going to be leaking, you're going to notice you're going to feel water, like it's going to be wet. So this feels dry. So now that that's dry, I want to double check before I seal it completely. So I am going to take a dry paper towel that has no watermarks on it, and I'm just going to take my cup, and I always kind of shake it a little bit, that way to loosen things up. And I'm going to set that on my paper towel for a few minutes to see if it's leaking. I've had this on the paper towel for a few minutes. When I lift it up, my paper towel is still dry. Also, just to double check, I'm gonna fill this, and this still feels dry, so I am good to continue sealing my cup. Now, I like to do a glitter butt just because, I don't know, it looks super cute. So for my glittery bottom, I'm just gonna take my little silicone cup right here, and I'm gonna get some of my UV resin. You don't need a whole lot, especially for this smaller cup. I'm just gonna do a little bit of Heaven. This is from Geaux Glitter. And I'm just gonna take my silicone tool, since this isn't a lot of resin, and just kind of mix that up. When that's all mixed up, I will just grab my tumbler, and I will just go ahead and pour out my glitter onto the bottom of my cup. Once I'm at this point, then I'm just gonna kind of look at my bottom, make sure it is flat and I don't have any bumps, because I wanna make sure my cup lays flat. I'm just gonna take this, hit it with a little bit of heat to pop the bubbles, and put it under my lamp. right, so this is all cured, but I do want to put one more layer of resin on there. But before I do that, I am going to take my care card sticker for the bottom. And I get these from Vinyl Fun. They're amazing. You need to get one if you haven't already. And just center it on the bottom of my cup. Take my UV resin again. This time I'm just gonna put it directly on the bottom. Take my silicone brush and I am just going to work my way from the middle, kind of brush out. And then when I get to the edges, I just kind of turn the cup. I will just kind of eyeball my cup from here and make sure I don't have any spots where there might be a little like a bump going down or a spot where there might be a lump. So I'm feeling good about that. Hit it with some heat and stick it under my light. This time I'm gonna do it for 3 minutes though. All right, so I've got the bottom all sealed. It's not tacky at all. And look how cute. It's perfect, ready to go to its own home. Again, I got these stickers made from Vinyl Fun, which you need to get some if you haven't already. They are for sure a game changer. And now just to double check, I always like to give my cup a really good little shaky shake. And then once again, I'm just gonna leave it on a paper towel for a little bit, make sure, quadruple check that there are definitely no leaks, but it should be good to go. And look how freaking adorable this is. This sticker also from Vinyl Fun. I'm obsessed with all of the clear cast decals that she has. So cute. If you have any questions on sealing a tumbler, if you're having issues at all with one or something specific that you would like to see, just let me know. I'm happy to help. Also, I just want to give a reminder to you that is it going to seal perfectly every time? No. Are you going to have times where you have to redo it like 3 or 4 times? Yes. It doesn't matter how long you have been making Snowglobe tumblers, you're going to have to reseal them. That's just how it is. Also, you're going to have times where you feel very confident that you've gotten every little bit of water out of it. You seal it, you shake it, and there's a bubble in there. And do you know what? It happens all of the time. I'm gonna say like 90% of the time you're gonna probably end up with at least some tiny little bubble in there. And that's okay. Your cup is still beautiful. It doesn't affect that at all. It doesn't ruin your tumbler. Like, you're gonna be okay. So if I could give you any bit of advice when it comes to sealing your tumbler, I mean, of course, try to get as much liquid in there as you can. But if you can't, like, don't stress out about it. Your cup is still very pretty and beautiful. Like, honestly, I have a little bubble in this one. But, I mean, can you even tell? Did it ruin my cup? No, it's still really cute and pretty. So, just don't stress about it, okay? Any questions, let me know. But have the best day ever and happy Snowglobe sealing.